There are a couple very specific things that separate Ford V8 engines from Chevy small blocks and the Chrysler Dodge Hemi. So let's talk about the big picture things that are different, and let's talk about some of the little monumental steps along the way. So Ford was mostly known for bigger, heavier engines, the Ford flathead revolutionizing the modern assembly line, and Chevy is mostly known for the small block innovation, which is a low profile, lighter weight engine with pushrod overhead valve technology. And then Chrysler is mostly known for their Hemi design, which is actually the cylinder head design on a pushrod engine. Now, how these three companies sort of evolved during the first 100 years of automotive production differs quite greatly. So Ford, their way of competing with all the different brands that General Motors acquired was sort of starting all these different engine families and simultaneously adding or discontinuing certain engine families based on success, models, and production. Where Chevy does have different plants where the engines are manufactured, but most Chevys are not known for the specific plant where they're manufactured. So Ford, for example, has the Cleveland plant, the Lima plant, the Windsor plant. They have the modular engines. They have the Windsor, the Essex. There's a bunch of different terminologies for discussing where like Ford engines are manufactured, where Chevy is just like 350 small block, 409, big block, small block. It's a lot more simpler with the engine description, but like iconic models like the Corvette and the Monte Carlo and the Camaro, people are more identified with Chevy based on the specific Chevy that they drive. Or you might have an Oldsmobile person who will just refer to it as a rocket. You have a Buick who will refer to a Buick engine as the nailhead. The Pontiac had the Stratostreak. I don't think people really use that term, just a Pontiac V8. They didn't do the big block, small block thing. And then Hemi was sort of Dodge and Chrysler's way of establishing themselves in NASCAR. The Hemi was so successful that it forced Ford and Chevy to come out with their own reaction to that engine. Now, Chevy, what they did is they just had a bunch of different displacements. They had very, very large displacements. They had very, very small, lightweight engines. Ford had specific engine families. So instead of where Chevy just kind of made a large version of the same block, Ford actually would come out with like an entire additional engine family to compete. Like, for example, the 385 was their big block. The Cleveland was a 335. Then you had the Windsor small block, and then Dodge and Ford and Chevy sort of had their each different way of coming out